Well, tonight I am going to model this. Yes, it's true. I'm going to model a roll of toilet paper and the toilet paper holder. And in case you're wondering how I thought to model this, it's because I was doing this the other day. And so somehow that led to this. And so I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to model this. It's not going to look like a realistic roll of toilet paper, but it's generally modeled after what I've got in my bathroom. And maybe sometime I'll model the toilet and the sink and the bathtub. And just want to have some fun. All right. So in case you're wondering how you could do this, it's very simple. It's relative beginner type stuff. All right. So here we are in the opening scene of Blender. I've just switched over to Cycles Render, and under the camera icon I've chosen GPU Compute. My screencast keys are on, but other than that it's just a normal Blender scene, and you don't have to be in Cycles Render, so there you go. So I'm going to hit A couple times, and I'm going to hit X, and I'm going to delete. I'm going to hit 1 on my numpad and 5, and I'm going to go into front view ortho, so I'm looking straight on. And I'm going to go Shift A to bring up the add menu, and I'm going to choose Mesh Cube. All right, so there's my cube. Let's go ahead and turn off the grid N to open the side panel, and under Display, uncheck Grid Floor. And let's also go into Shading and choose Matte Cap, Ambient Occlusion, and if you watch my other videos, you guessed it, Batch Shader, and to close that. Okay. I'm going to hit Tab to go into edit mode, but you could do that down here. All right, either way, Tab. All right, and I'm going to choose face selection or Control Tab, and that'll bring up the mesh select mode, face. I'm going to grab this back face here. I'm just going to pull it in a ways. Actually, I think I'm going to select it all and go scale in the Y, and that way it'll do it equally. All right, that way it stays centered. Okay, so there's my cube. I'm going to deselect, go back into object mode. All right, my 3D cursor is right on this cube, right in the center, so I'm going to go Shift A, Mesh, and I'm going to bring in a cylinder. And I'm going to rotate this around the Y 90 degrees, so I'm going to go RY 90. All right, so it's in the same orientation as a toilet paper roll. I'm going to go into edit mode, and I'm going to hit S to scale. And bring it down sort of like that. All right, and I think I will go ahead and back into object mode, and I'm going to move it out, and I'm going to hit 3 to look from the side and Z for wireframe, so I can see how far in this thing is going. So I'm just going to create this sort of rounded space in the cube. So I'm going to be, let's go back to solid mode. I'm going to be doing a Boolean. Now I should say, by the way, that some of the techniques I'm going to use might be sort of unorthodox. Look, it's whatever you need to do to get the job done, because I'm not going to be animating this or using it for any other purpose than just making a quick render, or maybe a render of a room later on if I want to use this. I'm not going to worry about the fact that I'm going to be doing booleans and having n-gons and stuff that might not be all quads. and stuff like that. So if that made any sense to you, fine. If it didn't, don't worry about it, okay? I've got a cube and I've got a cylinder, and the cylinder is embedded a little bit into the cube. I'm going to select the cube, and I'm going to come over to the right side here. I'm going to choose the wrench, which brings up the modifier stack. I'm going to add modifier, Boolean. I'm going to choose for operation difference, and the object I'm going to choose is the cylinder. All right, and then I'm going to hit apply. I'm going to select the cylinder, hit H to hide it. All right, so it's cut in. Oh, that's not too much. That might be a little bit much. So I think I'm going to back out of that a little bit. And let's hide the cylinder. Okay, let's pull the cylinder a little bit out. Select the cylinder, pull it out a little ways. I don't need it to go that deep. That's not much different, but object, apply, hit the cylinder, apply, hide the cylinder. It's pretty much the same thing, but anyways. Okay, so now I'm going to go into this cube object, into edit mode. I'm going to deselect that, and I'm going to go into edge selection. So I'm using my hotkeys, but you could do that down here. There's edge selection right there. And I'm going to hold Shift and Alt, and I'm going to click that edge, and I'll get that part. And they're going to do it again, and essentially I want all of the outside, so we'll do that one as well. I've also got this piece selected here, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select the one on the other side. So I've got the outer edge selected, and I've got this stuff. All right, so now I'm going to do a little bevel. I'm going to go Control B, and the bevel is, by the way, is going to be activated from the origin, which is this white circle with the axes there. So you're going to get a dotted line towards wherever I put my mouse. So I put my mouse there, it's going to go from there to there, and you can basically going to pull away. Okay, so I'm going to go Control B. There's the dotted line. I'm going to pull away, and that's going to create an area like that. And then I'm going to roll my mouse wheel up 1, 2, maybe 3 times, and left click to accept, A to deselect, and go into object mode. All right, so I beveled this edge here. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here, and in face selection, I'm going to grab that face, and I'm going to delete it. X delete. Then I'm going to grab this outer edge back there, and I get the whole thing. Shift Alt and click that, and I'm going to pull it up this way. All right. And then I'm going to grab this outer edge. Shift Alt and click that, and it might take a couple. And I'm going to bevel as well. So I'm going to go Control B, I'm going to pull away from the center, and I'm going for that kind of effect. In fact, I might want to grab this outer edge again and bring it just a little bit closer, so I get this kind of look. The next thing I'm going to do is in face selection, I'm going to grab all these faces that the cylinder made. So this one, this one, this one. I'm just going to holding down Shift and select them all. There we go, just like that. And I'm going to go. I want to break them away out of this model, okay? Because this is not going to have a subdivision surface on it because I've done the Boolean and stuff like that. But this is, so I want it as a separate object. So I'm just going to go P, okay? Separate by selection. I'm going to hit Enter, and I'm going to go back into object mode, and I can either select the cube or this piece, and that's what I want. I want to select that piece. I'm going to set the origin of geometry. It should be pretty close, so I can now move this if I wanted to. I'm going to leave it right there though, and I'm going to add modifier, subdivision surface of 2. All right, and I'm going to hit smoothing, and now I'm going to go into this object, and I'm going to add a couple of edge loops to get rid of the curvature. So I'm going to hover my mouse there, and I'm going to Control R, and I'm going to roll my mouse wheel up once, so I get 2 edges, left click, and then right click to finalize that. And now I want to pull these lines equally to the left and the right, so I'm going to scale in the X. I'm going to go SX, and I'm going to pull away from the center. All right, you can see those corners disappear. I'm going to go right close to the end there, and then I'm going to come up to the top as well and do that. I'm going to hover my mouse there, go Control R, left click, and I'm going to pull the line up. And let's do the same on the bottom. I'm going to hover my mouse there, Control R, left click, pull my mouse down to there, right around there. Okay, and hopefully that will work and be relatively seamless. I think that's looking just fine. So there's my little indentation for that part. Okay, I'm not going to apply the subdivision surface. I don't need to do that right now. So the next thing I'm going to do is with this object selected, doesn't really matter. Cursor to selected, just brings my 3D cursor to the whole box there. I'm going to bring in a circle. Shift A, mesh, circle, and I want this standing up, so I'm going to rotate it around the Y, RY90, and let's pull it out. And let's hit 3 and look on the side view and scale this down. All right, this is going to be, I just want to get the positioning. Let's go back to the front view. I'm going to put this right about there. I will be extruding this outwards that way. All right, so let's put it around there. Let's go to 3 again and bring it out a little bit further. I'm going to make the little handles now, so I'll make that a little bit bigger. All right, it's a little bit trial and error. All right, so what I'm going to do is go into edit mode of that circle and control tab and choose vertex. All right, or I could choose it down there and deselect. And then I'm going to hit B to box select, and with my left mouse button pressed, I'm going to drag a rectangle over all these vertices, and I'm going to hit X and delete. I want to leave the one that's sort of horizontal here on the top of the bottom. I'm actually going to select Shift and select both of those, and then I'm going to turn my view a little bit. I'm going to go E to extrude, and I'm going to pull along the Y until it goes into that model. Now, I'll go into wireframe so you can see what I'm doing. Those points are still selected. I'm going to hit F to make a face. That's going to make this an enclosed thing. And I'm going to deselect and then hit A again and F to make a face. I'm going to go back into front view, and I'm going to hit E to extrude, and I'm going to pull it out until it roughly fits this space right here. Okay, I could actually box select this area, and I could pull it out a little bit more as well. Let's go back into solid view and see what we've got. All right, and I want it to fill most of that space right there, and that's fine. I think I've done most of my work in edit mode, but just to be sure, well, let's come over here and check. Hit N and come up, and actually the scale is a little bit off, so I'm going to go Control A, rotation and scale, and that's going to set it back to 1. So that's going to make all my next manipulations work better. All right, as the scale has been sort of applied to it and the rotation. So I'm going to go back into edit mode of this, and in edge selection, I'm going to Shift Alt and click that edge and that edge, so the sort of the front and the back. Get a good vantage point, and there's my origin there. So I'm going to put my mouse there, and I go Control B, and I'm going to pull away till I get something like that. Roll my mouse up till I get 3 extra lines in there, 3 extra edges. I'm going to come back into object mode and apply smoothing, and that's going to be what that looks like. All right, don't forget to save. Shift S, cursor to selected. I'm selecting this object now because I'm going to bring in another object, and I want it to go very close to where I want it, which is going to be right here. So I'm going to go Shift A and bring in a circle, but I want to rotate it around the Y, RY90, and scale it down. I'm going to make the little grooves that the toilet paper holder goes into. So I'm going to scale that down to you know, the size that I think is reasonable. I don't know, but I'll try that for now. All right, and I'm going to go into edit mode, make sure that part's selected, F to make a face, E to extrude and pull it out a bit, and then I deselect and go back to object mode. I just want to push this just a little bit into this so I can make a bit of an indentation here. All right, so I'm going to do a Boolean. I'm going to select this piece here, and I'm going to go add modifier Boolean difference, and my object is going to be this, and it's going to do that. Don't worry about it. Hit apply, take this and hide it, but don't get rid of it. All right, so I made a little bit of an indentation. Tell you the truth, I think I want a bit more, so let's take this and hide it. Okay, let's go Alt H and bring it back. That'll bring back that, so let's hide that, come back to this. I want to push this in a little bit more, okay, a bit deeper. Okay, back to this. Okay, so I'm selecting the main object, operation difference. The object is going to be this, apply, hide that. Now I've got a deeper hole. That might even be too much, but we're going to go with that. I'm going to go into edit mode of this, and in edge selection, which I'm already in, I'm going to Shift Alt and click there. And I didn't get the whole circle because of these, so I'm going to Shift Alt and click, not that, there as well. So I got that yellow line, or is that green, going all the way around. I'm going to try to bevel this from the origin position, so Control B, and I'm going to pull back just a little bit. 1, 2, I'm even going to go for 3. Okay, deselect and come back out. All right, now that's smooth this to some extent. I still have some streaking, some smoothing issues. So what I think I'm going to do first is I'm going to go into edit mode again, And I'm actually going to, in face selection, I'm going to grab that. I'm going to shift alt and click on one of the lines, and that's going to get the whole row of polys. And then I'm going to go control plus and come out a row or two, but deselect this bottom one. So I've got this row of polys and a couple more, and I'm going to come over to shading, UVs, and in faces I'm going to go smooth. And I'm just going to try just smoothing that part there. This part's not really going to be seen. You might see a tiny bit of the side. Anyhow, let's fix this up as best we can. Edit mode, I'm in face selection. You can see I'm going to select that face, and that face I'm just going to hit E to extrude and left click to accept. So I just put a little bit more geometry right on top. You're not going to see that I've done that unless you look really carefully, but that'll solve that for now. Yeah, that's in there. Okay, with that done, I want one on the other side as well. So I'm going to make sure this is selected, Shift S, cursor to selected, and I'm going to mirror this across this, which is essentially, you know, the same on both sides. So I'm going to select it with 3D cursor on this main object here. I'm going to go mirror, and using the eyedropper, I'm going to choose that object, and that'll give me one of the same on the other side. I'm just going to hit apply. And I can put origin of geometry if I want to, right in the middle of that. And let's save. Let's go ahead and go Alt H, and let's hide the toilet paper, but let's keep this piece and hit the period key to zoom in. All right. I'm going to go into edit mode, and I'm going to hit A to select it all, and I'm going to scale this down a bit more so that there's some space where it fits into the hole. All right. Then I'm going to select this face right here. And I'm going to hit E to extrude and scale, S to scale. I'm going to bring it larger, something like that. Let's try that. E to extrude, and I'm just going to pull that out, and I'm just going to look at what I've got. Okay, that's pretty far from the hole, but that's good because I want to accentuate that. Let's go into front view and zoom out a bit and bring this close to the middle right there. And I can go ahead and delete that face right there that's selected and come into object mode. Well, I didn't have to be, but I'm going to mirror this again with respect to this. I'm just going to put one on the other side. I do want to be in edit mode though, and I'm going to turn on clipping, and I'm going to shift alt and click. Well, what happened here? Make sure I'm in edge selection. Shift alt and click that edge. Clipping is on, so I'm going to pull it into the other one. Let go, and I can't pull it away anymore. Okay, I'm going to deselect, go back into object mode, hit apply. And now I can go back in, and I can actually select that edge. All right, Shift Alt and click that edge and go X, dissolve edges. I don't need it anymore. Let's have a look at this. So it's going to be the same on both sides, sticking in. All right, let's go ahead and hit smoothing, and you'll see that it looks a little bit weird. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in first of all, and this is a pretty sharp corner. So I'm going to go Shift Alt and click on that edge, and Shift Alt and click on that edge. And where's my origin? Right there. Okay, and I'm going to try to bevel this and see at the same time. Control B, and I'm going to pull away until I get an edge like that. And I'm going to go 1, 2, or did I get 2? Yeah, I just want to bevel it. Let's deselect and come out and have a look at that. That already clears things up a little bit, but I get a bit of weird ghost-like coloration there, so we can fix that. In fact, let's hide this. That's what I'm looking at. Okay, see this stuff here? This stuff's looking all right with a bit of a roundedness there. So we'll just go back into this, and I could probably solve it easily by selecting that end and this end and going I to inset and just pulling it in a little bit. And that probably is going to fix that up. Well, no, it didn't fully fix that up, did it? All right, so, well, we'll do it the other way. Control R, put an edge loop there, slide it in. And Control R, put an edge loop there and slide it in. I could probably delete these faces because they're not going to be seen, but I'm not going to worry about that. Control R, let's put one in here. And just bring it up close to the end. It doesn't have to be right at the end. Control R there. Just like that. All right. Let's go Alt H and bring that stuff back. And except for that. And you can see I've got that part there. But you know, these things, they come apart, all right? Make sure that's long enough. Yeah, it's fitting. So let's go ahead and select that and go Control R, but not leave it in the middle. So left click and then pull it down to somewhere around there. I don't think they're centrally located. You know, the way you click them together is a little spring. And what I'm going to do to show that there is the division here is I'm going to go Control B and pull away just to give me a little space like that, and left click to accept, and then I'm going to extrude that inwards, but not in the X direction. I don't want it longer or shorter. I just want it sort of sunken in. So I'm going to go E to extrude, and then I'm going to go S, Shift X, not in the X. I'm going to push in, and that's going to give me a little groove. Let's look at that so far. See, it's a little groove, but it doesn't look very good, so let's fix that up. Back into edit mode. I lost everything. What happened there? Okay. These are very sharp edges, so let's Shift Alt and click that edge and that edge. There's not a lot of room, but we're going to bevel anyhow. Control B, pull away from the origin a little bit until I see something like that. 1, 2, done. But we're going to do a bit more. We're going to add an edge loop here and slide it up, and an edge loop here and slide it up. That one was out of sight for the moment. And in here, it's a little too bubbly, so I'm going to go Control R, slide there, and Control R, slide there. It doesn't really matter where they end up because it's such a small detail, and it'll actually be covered by the toilet roll. We won't actually see that. All right, so it's going well so far. Let's go Alt H and see what we've got. I think that's the only thing, hopefully. So we're going to move this. Let's look in side view and Z wireframe, and let's center that dot right in the middle of that circle. All right, so that's where the toilet paper roll would go. You know, something like that. Doesn't have to be perfect as well. No one's going to be measuring it. All right, but that's the idea. I think what I'll do is in edit mode, I think I'll scale this in the X just a little bit as well, so that it looks like it fits in there. That's a big roll of toilet paper. Yeah, is that too much? Maybe let's try scaling this, but not in the X. Let's not change the length of it. Let's just change the size of the roll. Let's go S, Shift X, and bring it down just a little bit. All right, so yeah, and then you can see in there a little bit better. Okay, cool. Let's go into edit mode of this and Control R to put an edge loop right in the middle. Left click and just right click to accept that, or enter. Just accept that right there. Now I'm going to go into face selection. I'm going to grab this face. I'm not going to worry about the other side. I'm going to mirror that. I'm going to hit I to inset. I'm going to pull it down. In fact, I can't see. I want to pull it down close to this thing, sort of as if we're making the paper. So it's going to come, you know, close to there. That kind of thing, and hopefully it's relatively centered. And I'm going to do another one, Control R, and bring it close so it's like that. So it's like that's the cardboard paper there. All right, right there. And then this area is going to be a hole in a minute. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is in this area I'm going to make the paper, and again it's not going to look overly realistic. It's stylized. All right. So I'm going to go Control R right here, and I'm going to roll my mouse wheel up a bunch of times. I'm not going to go too crazy like that. Okay, it looks a bit like a spider web. I'm going to left click to accept, right click to finalize, but leave those selected. I'm going to use this to make the pieces of paper. With that stuff selected, I'm going to bevel just like I did when I made the little groove in the roll holder. I'm going to go, and there's my origin, so I'm going to go Control B, and I'm going to pull away from the origin until I get that blue region, and that defines the thickness of the paper. So do you want thin paper, thick paper? I'm going to go right there. I'm going to left click, done, but don't deselect. I'm going to go E to extrude, and I'm going to pull it in the X direction inwards a little bit, just like that, to make an indentation like that. Okay, so sort of looks like the rings of a tree. We're not done yet. Go into edit mode. I'm going to grab this edge, Shift Alt and click, and I'm going to bevel that edge. Control B. I'm going to pull out, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Like that, and I'm also going to put an edge loop and pull it close to that, but not right on it, like that. Okay, come on out, and let's check it with a subdivision surface of 2 and smoothing. So it's going to look something like this. This end is going to be messed up, but we're not going to use that end, so I'm going to hit 1 to go into front view, go back into edit mode, Z for wireframe, and I want to be in face selection. I'm going to B and box select, drag a rectangle around all of this, go X, faces. While I'm still here, I'm just going to go add modifier, mirror. All right, and I'm going to find the axis. There it is. All right, and I'm going to come back into object mode, solid, and I'm going to just hit apply. Now that I've done that, I can go back in as well, and I can edge selection, Shift Alt and click that edge, and dissolve that edge. Okay, so let's have a look at this now. This is what we're getting so far. Make sure we save. Let's go ahead and make the hole there. So I'm going to go back into edit mode, deselect, and let's come back down here, and this is the cardboard here. That's the cardboard there. All right, that hole might be a bit big, but I'm going to face selection. I'm going to select that face. I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to select that face. So they're both selected there. All right, and I'm going to go Control E, bridge edge loops, and make sure merge is not on. Now, I'm also going to deselect and then A to select it all, and go Control N in case any polys got flipped, and they should be just fine. Okay, and that's my hole. But I'll make this look a little bit sharper by going back into edit mode, and I think I'll put my cursor there, and I'll go Control R, and I'll bring an edge loop down close to there, maybe even up to there, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. I could be mirroring this again, but I'm not going to bother. Control R, went right down there, and right up about there, and you know, that's my cardboard, and I know it looks a little thick, but whatever. Okay, so we got that so far. Let's select the toilet paper and go from top view and go back into edit mode, and in edge selection I've got a dot right there. That's the center point, so I'm going to just select that. I'm not Shift Alt and clicking. I just want that top one from side to side. All right, so I got that. I'm going to bevel this. All right, Control B. I'm going to pull away. I'm making the little piece of paper, so that's enough right there. All right, and I'm going to hit E to extrude, and from the front I'm going to just pull up a little ways like that. Now you could leave it like that if you liked that effect, so it sort of swooshes in, but I'm actually going to put an edge loop here and pull it down a little bit. That's going to go on the front and the back. Deselect, and I'm going to do one more up here, but I'm not doing them really tight, not right to the end. I want a little bit of roundness, but it's going to be something like that. Okay, now I'm going to select this, and I'm going to rotate this in the X. You could go RX 90 if you oh, I should have done 180, whatever, but I mean, you can just go RX and you can position it wherever you want. I don't want it directly at the bottom. I want it something like that, so you can, you know, so you can kind of see the thing. All right, now this obviously sticks out. Okay, so we're going to put this in a wall. All right, there'd be a hole, so I'm going to make sure that this is selected, cursor to selected, Shift A, mesh, and I'm going to bring in a plane, and I'm going to rotate X90, RX90, and S8, scale it 8 times. All right, and then I'm going to take this plane and I'm going to pull it till it sort of is flush with this thing, as if it was like that. All right, but that's not how it would exactly go, so you know, I can cut a hole in the wall if I wanted to. So I'm going to select the plane and go into edit mode, and I'm going to go hover my mouse here, Control R, roll my mouse up once so I get 2, and then I'm going to go SX and pull in until the cuts are just under this. All right, I'm going to do the same over here, Control R, I'm going to get 2, and I'm going to go SZ until they're just under about there. And I now know there's a face. There's a face there, there, there. There's also a face under there, so I'm just going to select it. You can sort of see some dotted stuff there. I'm going to go X faces. And now there's a hole there, so that thing sticks through, just like that. So that's how it would be, you know, like in the wall kind of thing. All right, and then I'm going to come over to N, and I'm going to go down to matte cap again, and I'm going to choose the one that I had in the as the thumbnail, I think, and just to show what that looks like, you know, sort of from there. And then I'm going to hit the camera icon to render it, and that's my roll of toilet paper.